Hello everyone, welcome back to the SMITE Comprehensive Guide to Sun Wukong. This is a follow-up episode of Sun Wukong in the solo lane because I actually have a more normal opponent here. I wind up having Bologna, which is what my assumption is given their team comp, but there's something else I really want to talk about in this loading screen here that I noticed immediately as a solo lane. Notice the Arachne versus the Thanatos, right? Now, I know the Thanatos is my jungler. I'm assuming Arachne is theirs. Alright, this is a particularly interesting jungle matchup because they both have approximately the same level of movement speed. Now, Thanatos can boost his own movement speed with his second ability, and Arachne can boost her own movement speed using webs. They both travel at approximately the same rate of speed with their ults, but Thanatos can fly over walls, Arachne cannot. But otherwise, they travel at very similar rates of speed, which means whoever basically makes the first major mistake in jungling is going to lose their jungle. Alright, so this is something I'm very much keeping in mind as a solo laner, because if I see my Thanatos die first before their Arachne dies, I know I'm in trouble. Right, I can expect a lot of ganks coming in from the enemy Arachne, right? That is what I can reasonably expect. So this is something I have to be mindful of as the match progresses. Which one of these two is going to make the bigger mistake first, whether it's dying or just staying too long in a given lane, right? That is what I'm looking at here besides the probable matchup with Bologna, right? So here I am waiting to put down the ward. Now, we were obviously having some fun with woohoo and awesome over here, but I want to be very specific with the timing of this. Now, I put my ward down the instant the prompt comes up, minions have spawned. That's when I put the ward down, and that's when I go to my buff, right? Now, I'm going to skip the buff. We've seen the buff 1,200 times. I've skipped too much here. Alright, so clear the buff, and lo and behold, Bologna. Now, Bologna's level 1 wave clear is one of the few level 1 wave clears that is better than Sun Wukong's. I whiffed that auto attack there, which is mildly inconvenient, but not really a huge deal. But her level 1 wave clear with the hammer swing is a little bit better than mine, so I know I'm not really going to be looking to box her until level 2, so it's very important I hit level 2, but because of her level 1 wave clear, obviously she's going to clear that first. So I'm just trying to take as much damage as possible, manage my damage, so that way I can kill these minions and hit level 2. She was going to go for the totem, but she clearly didn't have the time for that, but now I'm level 2, and this is where I start to turn this around. Now, I'm waiting for her to use her hammer at this point. That is all I'm waiting for. I did not use 72 transformations on the wave specifically so I could interrupt her wave clear, and this is what I'm going to be doing with Sun Wukong the entire time. The thing about Bologna in the solo lane comes down to, very essentially, can her laning opponent interrupt her hammer swing? Sun Wukong can. So as long as Sun Wukong can consistently interrupt that, he wins the wave clear, because he, of course, has the magic cudgel to hit the whole wave. It's not as effective as hitting the whole wave and then 72 transformations. It's not quite as effective as that. I will concede that point. But, on the other hand, it's still miles better than anything she's going to be able to bring to the table. Even her chain whip attack that can hit the whole wave doesn't deal as much damage as the magic cudgel, which gains bonus damage against minions. So no matter how this goes, as long as I can interrupt her hammer in a relatively timely fashion, i.e. before that final hit, I'm pretty much golden, which is what I'm waiting for right here. And she's going to back up because she wants to use this on the back line here. And then here she goes. I interrupt. Now, you can interrupt this with either the tiger or the bull. The bull gives you a little bit better margin for error. It's a little bit easier to hit her at melee range, whereas the tiger, if you're a little farther away, does a little bit more damage. It really doesn't make a huge difference. The key thing here is to interrupt the hammer swing, right, which is exactly what I did there. I was really close to her, so I used the bull. If I'd been a little farther away, I probably would have used the tiger there. You'll see this throughout the match, that whether or not I use the bull or the tiger primarily depends upon my distance from her, right? Now, she's going to be able to use it again here because 72 transformations isn't back up yet because I don't have any cooldowns. I use the tiger on her to get some poke in because obviously I'm winning that boxing match, right? I have minion advantage. I want to press that, so I go on ahead and tiger her for the round 2. And at this point, I have her exactly where I want her. I'm level 3. I'm going to interrupt her back here just to force her to not back. And then I'm going to go for the totem here. right? So at this point, I have a small lead. It's not a huge lead, but it's good enough where I'm comfortable being able to do basically whatever I want because, once again, I can interrupt her major wave clear. She has to back at this point. I'm now just clearing the wave for free, so she's going to lose some gold on this. I'm going to go on ahead and use the bull. I'm fine using the bull here because she's backing, obviously. And then I get surprised by Arachne. Now, this is actually a mistake for Arachne. Yes, on the one hand, I'm under level 5, right? So this is actually the ideal time to gank me as Sun Wukong. However, first off, Bellona just backed. Okay, this is a 1v1. 2, I am a level higher than Arachne, and I was right before she got there, right? 3, I have nearly full health and mana. Not quite full health and mana. I've got about 3/4 of it, but I have more health and mana than Arachne does. You're going to see this go very badly for her due to these factors, right? I accidentally bring up my teleport. I'm, falling back because I don't want her to stun me, which is basically the only thing I was concerned about. And you can see where she walked away with 2/3 of her health. Now she's under half, right? She's going to come in for a little bit more. She's trying to give Bellona some time to farm a little bit. She's trying to give Bellona that time to catch up, but she's also hurting herself in the process here. Okay, now I understand as a jungler, she's trying to get Bellona caught up. She's trying to basically scare me off the wave so Bellona can clear it and catch up. While being far enough away, this is actually why she's standing that far away, by the way. She's trying to stand far enough away where she doesn't drain any of that golden experience away from Bellona. Okay, that is why she's that far away. She's at that perfect distance, and this is actually great recognition by the Arachne. This actually indicates that this Arachne really does know how to jungle, but this is still a mistake because she's not getting any golden experience during this time, and you can see on the minimap where Thanatos is ganking left lane, which really needed it. Our duo lane was pushed back, and theirs was pushed forward. So it's something our duo lane really needed, and Thanatos has this opportunity because he knows Arachne's over here wasting time, right? What he doesn't know, and what really turns out in his favor, is she's also not getting golden experience during this time. Now, right now, as a solo laner, I'm thinking about, alright, I might not be getting these minions right now, or actually, a better phrase would be, Bellona might be getting some extra farm on me right now until I can get to that wave, but the Arachne's nerfing herself by not getting that golden experience, so I'm going to be less concerned about a future gank. Okay, that is exactly what's going on here, and that's exactly what I'm thinking about right now. Okay, now I do get concerned. She disappears off to the left. I'm worried she's taking my blue buff, which would be a really bad thing at this point. I don't have my ult. I only have 2 multi-potions left. I'm somewhat concerned, but at this particular point, I just need the minion wave, right? It needs to be cleared. I need to be able to at least get my golden experience. I do have the upgraded teleport, so it's not a huge deal if she takes it, but it would be a much slower solo lane for me. So I'm actually assuming she's taken it, but she blinks over here, so I know she hasn't, because she wouldn't be able to clear that and come back around, all the way around again, right? I get her some more poke. She's almost out of mana, so I'm fine getting even more poke with the Master's Will. But I'm pretty confident at this point that she didn't take my mana buff, because it's too long of a distance. She pops off to get the totem, right, which is fine. I let them have that. At this particular point, I'm just relieved that I'm pretty sure that I have my mana buff. I'm looking to poke Bellona a little bit here, but I decide, you know what? I'm going to back off. I don't know how close Arachne is. She could come in for another gank, and Bellona actually is in good enough shape. Right, I interrupt her hammer swing there. I'm going to take out this back line here after I've done that. Because the big thing for each wave is to just interrupt that hammer swing. That's basically the really big thing. She still uses the hammer auto attacks to out-clear me a little bit here because I goofed my wave clear. I was boxing her a little too much at the beginning there. And also, I'm obviously out of mana. But at this point, I'm like, alright, I need to go get my mana buff. Increase my magic cudgel. And there it is, right? It's a beautiful thing. It's respawned. And now, I should have actually, right, because even back at this point, when you have the Arachne here, it is up. So I was genuinely concerned that she'd be able to take that, right? So I've just gotten... Actually, let me back up a little bit here. So I'm clearing this. Obviously, Bellona's clearing the wave. Now, I'm taking a risk here by going back into the lane, right? She's got good amounts of mana. She's nearly full health. I'm nearly dead, and I have almost no mana. Yes, I'm regenerating it, but I'm still not in great condition. So this is a bit risky. She does back off, which I don't think she should have done here. She probably should have pressed me while she had the opportunity to do so, given that, again, Sun Wukong does have an advantage over her. She comes back in lane, but she's going for the minion waves. Once again, she ignores a great opportunity to press me. I'm just going to take advantage of this, clear the wave, and get out of dodge. That's all I'm looking to do, because I intend on backing at this particular point. I dash through her with the bolt to keep her from following me, and back I go. Right, I have my teleport up. I'm not that concerned. But I do make a slight miscalculation. Now, you'll see I am 80 gold away, and right now I'm trying to decide, should I sit here and wait for this? And I decide whether or not I'm going to is going to depend on the Thanatos, who you see right here. Okay, so Thanatos then moves to lane, so I know I'm actually all set to take this, to basically wait for this, right? I don't have a huge problem with this. Will I lose some golden experience? Yes. However, given the matchup, I'm confident that I can pull this off. Now, I couldn't pull this off if the matchup was against me. If I was against, say, Mulan, who does really well against Sun Wukong, I wouldn't be able to get away with this. I would need to be back in that lane. I would need to be getting that golden experience. But because Sun Wukong does have the advantage over Bellona, not a huge one, he can interrupt her major wave clear and outclear her besides that, right? 2 advantages, an okay amount. But due to this advantage that I have, this fairly substantial advantage, I can get away with sitting here and letting Thanatos take the wave, right? This is also going to really solidify Thanatos getting ahead of Arachne there, because he was not splitting that with anyone. That was a whole wave that he was able to grab, and you're going to see that I'm not really going to have a hard time catching up to Bellona for a couple of different reasons. Right, I'm going to clear this wave. She's off. I don't know what she's doing. I believe she's getting her mana buff, to be honest, but that's only a supposition on my part. So in she goes to clear the wave, right? And then I'm going to clear the totem, obviously. I'm checking her build. She's building what she looks like she's building, by the way. Actually, I want to talk about this for a second. She's building this, and I'm assuming this is going to be Berserker's Shield. She winds up building Gladiator's Shield, which is a bit of a mistake, given the matchup. If you're Bellona, and you're facing off against someone who can interrupt your hammer swing, you don't want to build into abilities. You don't want Glad Shield. You want Berserker's Shield. Furthermore, Berserker's Shield, well, there's 2 reasons why you want Berserker's Shield. First off, it increases attack speed, and without your ability to use the hammer blow, your damage is going to have to come from your auto attacks and your other abilities, because that's basically going to be used to bait out the enemy crowd control, right? Furthermore, she has, quite correctly, Death's Toll. So in order to maximize the use of Death's Toll, you want to increase your attack speed. So Berserker's Shield, giving you more attack speed, helps with that. Finally, it gives you damage mitigation when you fall low enough on health, which is really helpful when you're getting practically guaranteed hit by some form of crowd control every time you bust out your hammer. But she winds up grabbing Gladiator's Shield, and once she grabs that, she basically loses the lane due to that, because she can only really use a couple of her abilities, her first and her third, if I'm remembering the order of Bellona's abilities correctly, her first and third abilities, because I'm preventing very consistently her use of the hammer as an ability. Yes, she still gets the auto attacks, which means that Death's Toll remains useful even in that circumstance, but she can't use her most damaging ability, the hammer blow, for damage, because the hardest hitting part of the hammer blow is the final hit, which she never is going to get off as long as I'm paying enough attention. And that's, again, I was just waiting for that hammer to come out, and now I'm going to box her because I'm going to have the advantage now, because she doesn't have that ability. I've just done a bunch of damage to her. I have my ult up. I have chalices, right? Now, she does play this very smart. She does grab block stacks from her shield. I actually use my ult because I'm concerned she's going to press that and she has a mild advantage with the block stacks, but she doesn't. I still use it for the healing, obviously, so it's still a good thing to have used, but I was expecting a different response from her. And at this point, I'm just trying to poke her out. She recognizes this. She backs up, right? Now, she goes back in. I'm kind of wondering if I'm going to see Arachne again. So I back off a little bit, right? I don't want to press this too hard because I'm kind of wondering if Arachne's going to come in, and I don't have the mana really to get away with it, and my ult is also down. I do have 72 transformations, so if I needed to get away using the Bird of Nope, I probably could, but I don't want to really press my luck if I don't have to. So I go back, I grab my blue buff, which, you know, ensures that I'm not going to get ganked by Arachne, really. And that's fine. Right, now I'm going to go back to lane. I'm trying to build up my stacks here for Soul Eater, because at that particular point, now that I also know she's building a shield, which, again, Berserker's Shield would have been the correct move here. I know she's building the shield, I know she's got Sustain and Death's Toll, so in order to keep up with her in terms of Sustain, I need Soul Eater, right? So I clear the wave, here's another wave, I clear this, I'm going to wind up, again, interrupting her hammer. Now you'll notice I was a little farther ahead here. Actually, I want to go back for that, right? I'm a little bit far away from her when she does this. I've got a little bit of distance here, so I use the tiger for that one, okay? It's just due to that distance that I use the tiger there. Alright, and now at this point I want to box her because we're both the same level, although I am pressing my luck a little bit here. I don't have the mana for a sustained boxing match, so all I'm really doing is just weakening her down, so that way I can maybe press her when I come back. Now, why am I boxing then, right? In theory, I don't have the mana for this. I just conceded the fact that I can't win a sustained boxing match with her. I don't have the mana for it. There are two reasons. One, like I just said, I'm trying to weaken her down so that way the next wave has a little bit of an option, right? The second thing that I'm concerned about is my teleport comes up in 10 seconds. So basically I'm just trying to stall her out until that comes back up so I can back out of here by Glad Shield and then teleport back in. Those are my two goals right now, right? So, you know, once again, I'm saving up my 72 transformations. I don't have the mana to use both my Magic Cudgel and 72 transformations. I'd eventually get the mana for both thanks to my mana buff. I'm looking to clear the wave. She's going to out-clear me. I know this. I'm playing this pretty safe. I'm just saving up the mana to Magic Cudgel these minions and then clean them up. She goes for the totem. Once again, that's fine. I'm going to let her. This gives me a good opportunity to back. But you'll notice I've pretty much come pretty close to catching up with her. She's probably slightly ahead of me in experience at this point. I grab Persistent Teleport because if she doesn't back, then I've got a really good shot at killing her because of that boxing match I did earlier, right? She didn't back, she's half dead, right? Great. That's wonderful for me. I'm going to clear the wave first, or at least damage it, interrupt her hammer swing, finish clearing the wave, and then I'm going to box her. Very hard. I'm going to dedicate myself to boxing right now. She takes a lot of damage from the archers here, which kind of counterbalances the healing she's getting from her whip, and then she whiffs her hammer throw, and then she wastes her ult. Now, I say very specifically she wasted her ult for the very specific reason that I wasn't doing anything interruptible. If I had been in my 72 transformations, that would have been a good move there. By using her ult there like that and so aggressively, I get to use my ult and do whatever I want with it, right? I get to heal, I get to pretty much guaranteed land this because she's not going to be able to jump away, right? She's just used her jump. I now basically, at this point where I am right now in my ult, I stand an extremely high chance of killing her. I'm actually almost certain to kill her. She has no escape. I can lock her down very easily. I'm about to slam onto her with my most damaging ability, my ult, right? This is a really bad situation for her, and she really should not have ulted me there because that seals her fate. Right, so I'm going to blast her, I'm going to blast her minions, and then even though Thanatos does come in and makes the attempt, which is, you know, nice, not a bad rotation at all, he was just slightly late. I had that well in hand, but that's fine. He's going to back anyways. I'm pretty sure he was probably just trying to run away from Arachne. But you'll also notice that he's now 2 levels ahead of Arachne due to the amount of time she spent in lane, right? He was able to do some stuff in left lane, he was able to at least get the pressure off of left lane and farm up, right, while Arachne was hanging around in right lane for 12 years. So this is really, we're now seeing where, yes, she's just got a level up, but she's still a level behind Thanatos. So you can see the effects, the long-term effects of her hanging around for so long in right lane. Okay? This is basically what that is. And I've got my fully stacked Soul Eater. I'm a level ahead of Bellona. She's lost to this lane, basically, at this point. I own this lane, okay? Because every time she does that, and again, She was a bit distant from me. I tigered. Got some good damage. I got poked by the tower a little bit, but I have my chalice up, so I'm not that worried. I'm going to have my ult up in 15. So yeah, I'm not at all worried here. This is totally fine. And boom. Clear the wave. Get some poke. Wait for her to use 72 transformations. And she tries to stall me out as long as she can. But she realizes that I'm going to eventually out-clear her, so she tries it. I just go on ahead and poke her. Right? At this particular point, that's all I'm really doing. Clear the wave. I have my ult, so I'm willing to go in here. Right? She's really low on health. I have my ult. Even if Arachne did come in here, I'm not really concerned. Right? So I'm going to go on ahead and poke the wave some more. I'm looking to take this tower pretty soon. I'm probably going to take it this shot now if she doesn't have teleport, right? Boom. Take that out. I'm going to be looking at her jungle at this point. Now, I don't want to... There's a very specific reason I don't go in there and try to take the tower myself. She does have teleport, by the way. But the reason I didn't chase down the tower, basically, I say chase down like the tower's moving. The reason why I don't go under tower to try to take it is because I want to still keep her in this lane, alright? Like I said before, I own this lane. So this is a great opportunity for me to grab some extra farm. So that way when I do start rotating, I'm even stronger. Right now I'm a little less than 2 levels ahead of her. I would like to make that 2 levels. So I'm going to go in here and steal her jungle. And by not just taking that tower, I'm basically going to lock her down into this lane. That is my goal here, okay? So at this particular point, I'm going to rotate, right? Now I'm rotating here. My original plan, you can actually see where I kind of changed my mind here, right? Because originally I'm going to go for her Scorpion. Right? Because that's why I pat this way. And then I am like, well, you know, I have my teleport up. And I've got full HP. Let's gank, right? Let's gank this lane. Now, I don't see Merlin. I'm assuming he's going for his damage. So I'm going to poke his wave. And then he busts that out. So I know I'm correct here, right? So then I'm coming after him. And I'm looking to just get a kill on Merlin really quick. Now, my assumption is that we're going to kill Merlin really quick. Kukulkan and I actually ult and completely whiff. I probably shouldn't have ulted there, to be honest. And of course, I'm out of mana. But I'm thinking, you know, Kukulkan and I are going to kill Merlin here, and then we're going to get a really nice benefit. You know, Kukulkan will be able to catch up. I'm a little surprised to see Arachne come around that way. Now I'm trying to get out away from Arachne, because at this point, she probably can kill me. I have no mana, right? Kukulkan does that. Now, I could run here, and I was originally planning on luring in the Arachne with this back, but then Maui shows up, and I know I'm in trouble, okay? I would have been fine if it had just been Arachne, but the fact that Maui's shown up, I'm probably not going to make it out, and I know at this point my chances of survival are very low, right? So I'm going to run, and I don't even recognize him there immediately. I'm just so surprised. And then Kukulkan throws down the tornado, so I try to weaken down Arachne so that way she dies to it, but unfortunately I just get ulted by Maui and die. Right? Now, the Thanatos does the correct thing here. He immediately rotates over here to save the tower. Which, even if she had taken it, it wasn't going to be that big of a deal. I'm still far enough ahead of her that it's not really going to be that much of a problem for me to take the tower after the fact. He, unfortunately, whiffs his silence. If he'd hit that silence, he probably would have killed her there, to be honest. Because he wouldn't have taken the damage from the hammer. But, you know, again, I do have my teleport up, so I'm not that concerned. And then I'm going to teleport in, and I intend on trying to kill her here, because the Thanatos, even though he whiffed his silence sickle, he did do a good amount of damage to her, right? But now I also know that my rotation was, while we did kill Merlin, and I did get the assist for that, which is great, because that's what's keeping me, that's what's maintaining my lead, she did do a little bit of catching up. So at this particular point, I am going to be looking to press really hard somewhere. I have full Glad Shield now, which is great for me, so I know I'm going to be hitting a little harder than normal, right, or than I have been previously. I just pushed another wave under tower, so the tower is going to either be taken or come very close. It turns out it comes very close. Close enough where I could very easily just ult it if I needed to, right? That's not really going to be a problem. So I'm going to be clearing this jungle. Again, I am looking for that farm, but now that I've goofed a... Well, I won't say I goofed the gank, because it was successful, but I overstayed. And Kukulkan has lost his tower, so the gank did make a difference. It did make sure that he was able to maintain his lead over Merlin, despite losing his tower right afterwards. right? So it wound up accidentally working. That wasn't intended by me. I just ganked because I was strong and thought I could get away with it, right? Basically. Because at that particular point, I was so far ahead of Bologna and she was so pressed that I had the opportunity, right? And again, like I said before, I was originally going to steal her Scorpions, but I decided for the gank. Now, at this particular point in time, what I'm looking to do is push down into the tower or kill her, one or the other, and then rotate to mid, because they're pressing mid right now. So I'm looking to do something. I want to clean something up here, right? So I was originally going to go for the totem, but I decided I'm going to commit to this tower here and then interrupt her, and then I'm going to ult in here. I want this tower. Like I said, I need to clean this tower up so I can rotate to mid and take care of whatever the hell is going on over there. Take the tower. Alright, good. I realize that I actually can kill her here, which gives me even more time. I whiff my horrific curse, and now I'm going to go deep for her. Right? Now, the reason why I'm going to continue pursuing her is two reasons. One, they clearly won whatever fight was going on here. There are no enemies. This tower is almost taken. I'm actually really confident at this point that they're going to take this. So my priority has now changed. I want to kill her, to lock her down, and make sure that she's not going to be able to turn around and take my tower when I leave lane. Because right now my tower, due to my death in mid lane, which had mixed results, but one of the results of that gank was the fact that my tower took a lot of damage. So, if I kill her here, then the chances of her being able to press a wave down after the fact isn't very high. Okay? So I'm looking to really dedicate myself to this gank here. I have my ult up in 50 seconds, which isn't a really big deal. I have potions, right? And boom. Now, I know from that shot there, you probably saw that, but I'll go ahead and double check to make sure you saw that, because you can see a Rom ult firing off, right? I'm going to bowl through the wave there just to damage it, and then you can see that right there, right? So I know Rom is kicking around, so now I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get out of here. And Rom surprises me, okay? I was not expecting Rom. I was figuring if anybody was going to show up, it was going to be Arachne. That was who I was really expecting to be here. Arachne winds up actually being in mid lane right there, right? You can see her on the minimap there. So I'm just trying to get away from Rom, because obviously Rom is level 12, he's a hunter, he's going to hit me pretty hard. I'm being chased now by Merlin, I'm being chased by Maui, being chased by everyone, right? They're all there. I have decent enough health, so I stand a pretty good chance of getting away. I turn around, there's Merlin, I poke Merlin, and I poke Merlin not for the damage, but so that way I would activate my Warrior's Axe for a little bit of healing, a little bit of mana. Works out really great. I am able to just walk away. Again, mostly because it is Rom, and he goofed his rolling shot. If he'd hit that, maybe that would have turned out to be a different story, but he didn't. And now I'm going to rotate to mid lane, because I obviously don't need to be in right at the moment. My lane is pushing up that wave, and the teams are fighting here. Bologna's not likely to be here, and even if she is, I'm at this point 2 levels ahead. I want to take out the Merlin because he is their major source of magic damage. He's a major source of damage in general. So I'm looking to press that Merlin first. Thanatos absolutely picks that up. Fantastic timing. Now I want Arachne because she's going to be hitting pretty hard, and there she goes. And then we're going to be pressing onto Maui. Now this is a pretty dedicated attack here. I'm still looking to push this down. Now, the reason why I'm pushing forward is because this is going to buy my team the time they need to take the mid tower. That's what I'm really looking for here. I do take him out, and I'm now trying to get away from Rom, right? Basically. So I go through the Phoenix because he's obviously right behind me, and he's going to cut me off any other way. The Kukulkan has a great whirlwind. Now, I make a mistake here. You can see someone's clearing this, and I activate my Bird of Nope. I should have pathed to the mid tower. I did not. And this is going to get me killed. Right? I go right behind her. Rom tries to shoot me. He actually hits the first shot. And then I think I'm safe, but I see Bologna right here, so I'm now wondering, okay, am I going to get out? She ults, and then she hits me with her whip, and then she hits me with the hammer. Right, now she hits me with the hammer because, in case you weren't aware, every time Bologna hits an ability, she gets a very mild movement speed boost. When she hit me with the whip, that sealed my fate. She got a very small boost in movement speed that was all she needed to just catch up to that little bit and to kill me with the hammer, right? Again, if I had pathed to the mid lane and joined the rest of my team, I would have lived. Very likely. She probably could have still killed me with an ult there, so maybe I wouldn't have, but I would have been better off. Right, so I made a pathing mistake here. I absolutely should not have run that way. I should have just run to my team, and I did not. And I died for it, which is as it should be. That was a mistake on my part. Now, at this point, I try to decide, do I need Pridwin or do I need Spirit Robe? But I ultimately go with Pridwin, because at this particular point, I'm aware of the fact that the major threat to my life at this point is Rom, and I'm going to want that health shield. So I grab Pridwin. I'm going to be looking for the Bulwark of Hope for, again, that health shield, because that's going to really help me survive against the Rom if it comes down to it. And I'm just waiting to respawn. I'm looking at what people are doing. The enemy team is very interested in taking our tier 2 mid. And the reason why is because we've taken their tier 2 mid. I wind up teleporting to right lane because you can see a huge minion wave there. And Thanatos moves in that direction. He really should have been moving towards mid lane to help defend that because Merlin was right there before. Right? But he also needs to do some farming. He needs to stay ahead of Arachne, and clearly Merlin isn't there anymore. Now, I'm taking my blue buff here. I can see them fighting in left lane, and I'm not really sure if I'm going to join them or not, because I don't know where Bellona is, and I don't know where Merlin went. Merlin should theoretically have been there if that was going to be a serious team fight, because he was in mid lane 2 seconds ago, right? So I'm going to clean this wave up, and then I see Bellona over there, and that's when I decide I got to be over there, right? So I make a mistake here. I really do. And this kind of bothers me in retrospect. I'm very rarely bothered by my own mistakes, but this one bothers me. I know for a fact that Bellona is over in left lane. I know for a fact she just killed Maui. I know that I should be in left lane. But I stop for more farm because I want to be stronger, and I'm not going to get a level up. Like, if I was close to a level up, this would make more sense for me. But I'm not. I'm not even anywhere close. Now I say I'm on my way. I should have been on my way a few seconds ago, and I know that. I know this. And I still did it because I wanted more golden experience. And that was a terrible decision. Now, at this point, I know I'm late to the party, so I want to make sure they don't take the Gold Fury. That's what I'm looking at right here, okay? Arachne presses on me. I see Thanatos here, so I'm willing to fight this. Right, we're a decent bit ahead of her. I go on ahead and activate my Horrific Curse. I'm looking to get her killed. I'm pretty sure she doesn't have her ult because she didn't even make an attempt to use it. If she was going to use her ult, it would have been earlier, right? It would have been in response to the Horrific Curse, which is a really interesting benefit of Horrific Curse, really. Because if she was going to ult, it would be very specifically at this point. Now, I used Horrific Curse at this point because this also slows down Bellona and really prevents her from pursuing the Thanatos while I pursue the Arachne. But if Arachne did have her ult, this would be where she would use it. It would be an immediate response, because she would have to know that if she doesn't ult here, she's most likely going to die, and the only thing that would save her would be her ult. The fact that she doesn't ult is the proof I need that she doesn't have it. So I kill her, and now I'm looking to go on to someone else. I miss Bellona. I run a little bit farther because I want to make sure there's no one behind, but there isn't, right? And then I'm going to Bird of Nope in here to close that distance, because I want Merlin. Boom, Merlin's mine. Boom, he's dead. Now I want Bellona. I want to press this advantage as much as we can, but then I get this X. This means that I have been hit by Rom's Ferocious Executioner, and if I chase the Bellona into that Phoenix, I'm probably going to die at this point. I am ahead by 2 levels, but I'm not so far ahead that extra bonus damage isn't going to kill me from Rom, right? Plus the Phoenix. Now, Thanatos does take that out, and I decide to dive to try to save Thanatos. I'm not going to abandon Thanatos. And Thanatos, of course, turns around, picks up exactly what I'm laying down, which is beautiful teamwork, and then we stand here for 12 years to open the door because it's the only safe way of getting out, right? Which makes sense. Now, I'm going for the speed at this point, and I'm doing this for a very specific reason. At this particular point in time, they really aren't going to need me to take the mid-Phoenix. They have Maui. They have Scotty, and Scotty basically is 2 people when it comes to taking structures. They have Thanatos coming in. Hell, the whole team is there. They're not going to need me. I only have 10% pen, and I only have 75 power. I'm not going to hit Phoenixes that hard. I want to take this to cripple the Arachne's ability to recover, very specifically. Now I'm going to rejoin this fight, because now I've taken the speed buff, and Arachne comes back in. I'm going to take her out. Boom. and now I'm out of mana, and I'm looking to get out of here. Right? I'm going to stand on this door. They're going to press the Phoenix again. I'm going to take out these minions. They take that. I really should have left here, but I don't, because I don't have mana, but I want to help out. I want to make sure my team leaves. I'm calling retreat, by the way. You can see where we're there. You can hear it. Right? I'm calling retreat. And the Bellona comes back in, and even though the Bellona is behind, she's still strong enough to definitely pose a threat. She actually winds up killing the Kukulkan. I think she kills the Scotty as well right afterwards. I died to the Ram, of course, which is typically how it goes as a solo laner, right? But we really should have left right after taking the Phoenix. We stuck around too long. I'm just as guilty of sticking around too long as the rest of them, by the way. I was calling retreat. I didn't retreat either. I was trying to save lives with no mana, which is a stupid thing for me to do. Right? If you have no mana, just leave, right? There's just nothing you're going to do with that. So I stick around like a dunce with no mana. And, I mean, 3 of them do get out, which is nice. But we all could have gotten out of that. We didn't need to be there that long, right? So at this particular point, I'm definitely going to walk out of the fountain with Bulwark of Hope, which is going to be a huge help to me in staying alive. Right? Bellona's trying to save her tower, which, I mean, is as it should be. She's going to farm. Now, I immediately teleport to the Gold Fury because I want to stall. Okay? I want to make sure that they're not going to get that Gold Fury. I'm going to stall them out. Now, I'm confident in my ability to stall them out because I'm level 18 at this point. I am very ahead at this particular junction. So I also have my ult, by the way, so I'm extremely confident that I can stall them out for as long as my team needs to get here to take the Gold Fury themselves. Now, Arachne initiates on me, and that's not too surprising. It's a 2v1 scenario. Yes, she's wicked behind, but, you know, and then Kukulkan with this beautiful ult, I kill her before she ults. Now, I attack this Ram despite having the X over me because he is very clearly running, which signals to me that reinforcements are not on the way. Once Arachne died, Ram turned and bailed, despite having the Ferocious Executioner trigger on me, right? Now, Maui is also there, and he knows Kukulkan is here. He doesn't know the rest of the team is on the way, but he can assume that, right? So he knows it's a 2v2 at this point. We're ahead. Okay, that's not a bad fight, though, right? Especially since, once again, he does have Ferocious Executioner triggered on me, and I'm in webs. But he leaves, which means Bellona and or Merlin are not coming. Or at least if they are coming, they're too far away. Now, I know Bellona was in right lane, so she's probably too far away. He turns around, which means Merlin's probably nearby, right? And boom, there's Merlin, right? The instant he turned around, I knew it had to be Merlin, because I knew where Bellona was. So, take out Merlin. There goes Ram to Kukulkan's Whirlwind, right? The Maui ults Maui, which is a fun sentence to say, and then we're just looking to take this now. And we don't have this tower. Now, this is a weird decision. This is not my decision, but look at what the Maui does, right? I want the Maui to attack this because I'm clearly not in a healthy enough condition to tank this myself. Okay? Maui turns around, and he goes into the jungle, and you can see me being confused. You can see where I'm confused. I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Maui runs all the way around to join the minions in taking this tower. We did not need to do that. We're far enough ahead at this point where, yes, I mean, to be fair, Scotty is a little bit behind, but we didn't need to do that. We could have taken that a little bit faster. This winds up hurting us later, but Kukulkan wants Gold Fury. Now, I go off the towers and go help the Gold Fury, because basically I have a choice here, right? I can go for the towers or I can go for the Gold Fury, but for me, I knew I had to go for the Gold Fury because Maui can tank the tower for Scotty. Kukulkan can't tank, he's a mage, and Thanatos can't tank for too long because Thanatos isn't building tank, right? So they have a very limited ability to tank the Gold Fury, so I know without me, they aren't taking it. You can see where Thanatos almost dies there, right? So without me, they would never have been able to take this Gold Fury. You can see the Maui and the Scotty are now fighting off enemies at the left tower. If we had just run under the tower, we would have been able to take that. Right, at this particular point, Arachne's trying to kill me under the whirlwind. I was trying to kill her under the whirlwind. That clearly wasn't going to work. Thanatos, this absolute hero, saves my life with a beautiful combo. That was fantastic work. I probably would have survived. In all honesty, I could have just used the Master's Will to slow her down and then get away that way. I probably would have still lived, right? But Thanatos picking up another kill, always a great thing, right? Now, at this particular point, I'm trying to figure out what item I want to go for. I almost go for Witchblade. You can actually see me starting to look for Witchblade when I realize, no. This isn't the move. This is the move. Good old Midgardian Mail. And you'll be able to see the beauty of Midgardian Mail later on in the match. I love this item. So I'm just waiting for Midgardian Mail, of course. Boom, there it is. I teleport just in time. I'm here to clear my wave and spare my tower of this grim and grisly death, right? I mean, why not? Right now, it gets me to level 20, right? I get to get my mana buff. I'm gonna go grab the gold thing for the obelisk. Steal a whole bunch of farm from Thanatos. I mean, Thanatos is level 18, 3 levels ahead of Arachne. He can spare it. I'm just trying to get the gold up I need for Sundering Axe and Midgardian Mail, because I know with Arachne, Rom, and Bellona theoretically building a certain amount of attack speed, I'm going to want that Midgardian Mail. Right. Now, they call Fire Giant, that's fine, they still have to get there, and I can Bird of Nope in, so I'm not concerned about not going there immediately, right? If I was a slower warrior, I probably would, you can see me, Bird of Nope to get there faster, but if I was a slower warrior, I would have had to have dropped the mana buff to come over here and help out, right? But I'm Sun Wukong, I can Bird in. So here we are, we're birding in. Now, this would normally be a risky call, right? The enemy team is primarily alive, but we know that they're trying to defend their Phoenix, so at least one of them, in this case 2 of them because we just saw them in mid lane, aren't going to be paying any attention to this. We had a ward down in the area, we're pretty sure they're not going to be there, right? Unfortunately, we lose Kukulkan to the Fire Giant, and that's fine. They make the correct call. I wanted to go for the Pyromancer, they make the correct call by backing off. I'm just going to leave, because it's not like they're going to stop me with my ult, right? I'm looking for farm at this point. Now, I'm taking this farm in this actual incident not for the golden experience, it's just a happy bonus. I just don't want the enemy team to get it, because they're in a position to steal this if they wanted to. So, you know, we have that. And I'm going to take this for not really the same reason. This is actually just me going for golden experience, primarily gold, because I obviously don't need the experience. I'm just so used to saying golden experience. Now I'm going to push down this wave, because I don't know what the enemy team is doing, but I want gold. So basically, I'm just waiting to see what they're doing. I don't want to make any rash moves at this point, because we're really ahead. And if we make a rash move, we can lose that lead. So my team is grouping up. They've found Merlin, so they're going to be attacking Merlin. This makes sense. This is fine. I rotate in case this is some kind of ploy. Right? Now there's Arachne in left lane, so I'm going to loop around. Right? Here we go. Now I'm looking to find someone. Right? Now this is surprising. I find Merlin, and then I find the rest of the whole damn team. Arachne was by herself in left lane for some unholy reason, and so now I'm in the same position Arachne's in, but I just happen to be really ahead. I am now surrounded by the entirety of the enemy team. She's about to be surrounded by the entirety of my team. You can see her ult away. I ult up. We're basically clones at this point. However, I have level advantage. So I'm going to go back in here because I can see, you can actually see Kukulkan coming in right away. You can actually see Kukulkan moving in to help me out, which is why I ultimately decide. Because you can see where I'm noticing this, right? You can actually see my thought process happen. So I go after the Merlin. Here's Rom. He hits me with the Ferocious Executioner. I'm ulting out of here because I don't want to die. And I'm thinking about ulting this way to escape, right? Because that's an easy escape. Right, I'm looking at who else is around here. I'm just trying to assess. And then I turn around when I see the Kukulkan coming over, because I know Kukulkan's going to be coming in. I can attack. So I do so, right? And I'm just looking to reposition. I slap some people. They section off Merlin. I don't know why Merlin went over there, but it's great news for my team. And now I'm just looking for this Rom. I just used Horrific Emblem, so I actually can attack him right now. Right, I actually can do some good damage to him. The Horrific Emblem wears off approximately at that time, so I'm out of here. Right? I'm going to go on to Maui at this point. Hopefully we can kill him. Nope. Okay. So now at this particular point, I'm back on Rom, because again, he's going to kill me, so I want to slap him down. Here's Arachne, who I decided to go for instead. Now I chose to use the Bull version because I could just run through the minions rather than get stopped by them or, you know, whatever. So this is very specifically my move. She blinks just in time, stops me with the web. I'm not likely to get this, right? So I'm going to go after the Rom again. Because obviously, as a solo laner, I hate Rom. But we don't have what we need right now, right? I don't have the mana primarily. So I'm going to back out and teleport to this here ward. That is my plan. Back out, grab in Guardian so I can't get killed by Ram as easily, and then teleport right back in. And this, okay, I want to warn you. This is hands down one of the strangest team fights I've been in months. Okay? Behold, the oddity of whatever the hell this team fight was. So my team starts backing up because the enemy team has just respawned, and as you can see, Kukulkan is not in great shape, and the Scotty is 4 levels down, and also somewhat damaged. So we're actually really not in a great position to continue this fight at their Phoenix. Anywhere else we probably could pull something off, but at their Phoenix it's too risky, right? So my team is backing off, and the enemy team recognizes this, but their Merlin charges out first. As you do. So I see an opportunity, because I am not exactly a man unobservant of opportunity. I'm going after Merlin, but somehow Arachne interrupts me and ults to prevent the stun. Okay, I can work with this. She at least took the damage even if she didn't get the stun. I'm still after the Merlin, who is basically being ignored by everyone but Rom, who gives me a heart attack, by the way, so I panic ult right away. I don't even hesitate. I just panic ult right away. Then Merlin gets away, so now I'm trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing. They don't leave, and then that ult happens. For reasons. I have no idea why Kukulkan ulted there. I really don't. It's the weirdest thing. So I'm confused. I turn around, because I'm wondering, did I miss something? Is there someone back there with him? No, it's just Kukulkan. He just leaves, and I'm just going to go leave. But then they come back forward. I don't know why they're coming back forward. This is a terrible decision. Thanatos is dead. It's a 4v5, and Kukulkan is on the brink of death. Why the hell they came back into this fight? I don't know. But now I have to deal with this. Alright? So, okay. Here we go. I'm after Arachne, because she's more damage than anyone else, right? Ram's Ferocious Executioner is down. I'm getting a lot of damage, so I'm trying to back out here. Arachne, and now the enemy team splits up, which is fascinating. And exactly what my team needed, quite by accident. Arachne and Maui come after me, because they're going to need 2 people to kill me. I'm wicked ahead, right? They need the 2 people. The other 2 people go for literally the rest of the team, Scotty and Maui. Now, again, this isn't necessarily a bad idea, because their team composition right now is their level 20 Bologna and level 19 Ram, versus level 14 Maui and level 15 Scotty. Not a bad decision. They actually play this really well, but we still have Kukulkan kicking around, and that's a 3v2. And even though they do have a substantial amount of levels on the duo lane, Kukulkan is not quite that far behind. So this becomes a really interesting thing. And of course, I'm wicked ahead, so I get to slap around Arachne. I kill Arachne. The Maui then cuts me off from the fight. This winds up quite accidentally being genius. I don't know for sure if the Maui planned this, but the Maui is now cut off and probably going to die. I'm cut off and can't do anything. But that gives me time, right? And then here's my, I was originally going to go in and do something, but then I got the Ferocious Executioner proc, so I'm out of here, right? Scotty, of course, by the way, gets killed. I'm going to teleport to Maui. Boink. And, yeah, we're trying to get out of here. I want this damage buff, right? I want to take something with me, and I'm not expecting them to chase that hard. Right, there's Bologna in mid lane. You can see where she chased to kill Scotty, or maybe she chased for Kukulkan. I'm not sure which. Here's Ram. Surprises me a little bit. I'm out of here, because I expect that if I fight him here, Bologna's going to come and slap me. There she is. Right, she's right behind me. So is Merlin. So I'm going to bird a nope out of here. She must not have her ult down, because if she'd ulted me there, that would have been really bad for me. So she doesn't have her ult up, and I'm clearing this damage buff. And I'm clearing this primarily to stall out and stay in the rough area, because I want to make sure that they're not taking the Gold Fury. So I'm going to go in and check. They aren't. Alright, great. I'm going to back. I need to go back. I need my Sundering Axe. Right? Great. So I get my Sundering Axe, and then Bologna is now chasing Thanatos in our jungle. Okay, this is a great opportunity to kill her really quick. She seems to be alone. I believe she is alone, and she's not. She's got the whole enemy team with her again. Once again, here I am in the middle of the enemy team. I ult because, again, Ferocious Executioner, and this time, though, my whole team is here, right? and I've done a little bit of damage here, so I'm looking to take out Rom. Once again, Rom is the big threat on the board for me. I use my Horrific Emblem just to lock him down, and I am chasing this guy, right? Maui attacks, huge ult by Kukulkan, huge ult by Thanatos. I think that was it was his ult. Yeah, you can see where he used it. And now I just need to kill Rom, right? Rom needs to die. Thanatos takes Rom, perfect. Now we take out Maui, and Arachne ults in. Why the hell Arachne ulted in, I don't know. This battle was lost. Alright, all we had to do was kill Maui. She could have gotten away. She could have done something else. She could have done anything else. Right? She's a level 19 Arachne. If she's been building correctly, she could have done literally whatever she wanted to in the jungle. Nope. She ults into a 5v1 to make it a 5v2, because that's probably going to go great for her. I don't know what this thought process was. This was her literally just asking to die. Right? I'm going to go around and cut her off at the pass with my 72 transformations. Here I go, Bird of Nope. Chase that down. She blinks, that's fine. Boom. I'm coming in hot. Right? She backs off. We're not going to follow that up. She is very, very skilled. And this just goes back to what I was saying before, where the Arachne does at the very least know what she's doing, generally speaking. The choice to ult into the 5v1 was clearly a bad decision, but we all make those. I make them a lot. I made one earlier when I pathed like a lunatic, right? So it's not like I don't make mistakes either, but it was so wild because it was so precisely like there was a thought process there, and it's just astounding how many people do crazy things in this match. This was a fun match to play. I loved this match. It was full of surprises. It doesn't get any less wild. So we take the tower, right? And now I'm kind of concerned, though, because catapults are a pain in the neck to deal with if they're behind the Phoenix. And then Arachne activates it, so that's no longer a concern. So I throw my fake me at that, and I'm looking to take out the catapult, right, the trebuchet. She goes on to Maui. Maui locks her down. Kukulkan's whirlwind does a lot of damage. I finish her off because I know she's not got ult. She just used it. I'm looking to intimidate the Merlin. He's intimidated. I go back on the trebuchet. I'm looking for the Phoenix. Merlin comes back in with backup. That's fine. I want to retreat, right? I'm calling retreat. I want to leave. This is not our fight. We don't need to be here. And then Bellona ults in. Now, what this means to me, first off, we have Thanatos back. Second off, it's a 5v4 now. Third off, she is way separated from her team. We actually have a really good shot at this. So I go on to the Bellona. Merlin does his teleport in. I'm trying to, wear off the Ferocious Executioner. It wears off pretty soon. And then I go after Merlin, because Merlin's obviously low. And he basically seals his death warrant with hitting me with an auto attack and activating Midgardian Mail. Go after the Rom, because he's the only damage left alive. And here comes my allies to help me out with this. He rolls. And then boom. Slap. He gets to trigger my Midgardian. That's his honor, not mine. And then he dies. Right now we're just fighting this Maui here for no particular reason. Now I'm kind of concerned because I have no mana and Arachne's coming back. Right, so I have some worries. I have Horrific Curse, so I'm not personally in trouble. She does wind up killing the Maui here, and there's literally nothing I can do about that. So I'm just, at this point, concerned about the Kukulkan. The Kukulkan. Right? So I'm just going to back right here to keep an eye on him, make sure he doesn't get killed by Arachne. He doesn't. I'm hoping I don't get killed by Arachne. I don't. And now at this particular point, increase this to the emblem of increasing peril for the better cooldowns and the stronger effect, and then just teleport back to the tower. What I intend on doing is, you can see me by the ward right there, I'm going to ward up the Fire Giant, because it's back up, and we still have 20 seconds before Maui comes back. The enemy team is all alive, so I want to make sure that they're not going to take this. Obviously, I grab the little doodad on the way in, because that takes 1 second, but, I put down the sentry ward. They don't have a sentry ward there, which is great for us. I'm going to just basically stall for time by taking the blue buff, right? Get a little bit of cooldowns, get a little bit of mana, right? Okay, so grab the blue buff, and I'm just at this point trying to figure out what we're going to do, right? I'm fully expecting the enemy team to show up here. Scotty and Kukulkan, you can see them going for the Gold Fury. I'm going to what I'm going to do, and I have a very specific plan here. Right now, Scotty and Kukulkan are going for the Gold Fury. Now, originally, when I was wandering into the jungle here, because once I take the blue buff, my next move is to scout around in the jungle for the enemy. Like I said, I'm fully expecting them to go onto the Fire Giant. Scotty pings the Gold Fury, they start the Gold Fury. I check around the jungle for enemies. I see the Bellona there, and I'm like, alright, what I'm going to do at this point is create a distraction. My teammates are going for the Gold Fury, and because Maui isn't there yet, they're actually very vulnerable. This is not a great position. So let me initiate onto Bellona, see what I can do to create a distraction. I almost went for the blue buff, but I decided I'm going to go full distraction, right? I'm going to use my kit. I'm going to really pretend to commit. We get the Gold Fury kill. I see the team fighting over there, and I am going to run over there to help them out. Now, you might be wondering, why not box Bellona here? Why go halfway across the map to try to help them out? Primarily because right now I recognize that I am very, very ahead. Consider that I have 14 of our 32 kills. Alright, that is almost half of the team's kills. I am very ahead in gold. My team in a 4v4 scenario isn't that likely to win that. In fact, Kukulkan just now dies, so I know that they're going to need me to help carry this fight, and I'm going to get there a little bit before Bellona. Not a whole lot before, but a little bit before. And my first order of business is going to be going after the Merlin. Again, he's pretty heavy damage. I don't know where the ROM is, but I really want Merlin, so I'm going to slap him down with as much damage as I can, and then I'm going to ult. Right? Now, I do something that surprises him, probably. I don't wait for my healing, I just kill him. And then I'm going to bull rush through them. And now I'm trying to make a grand getaway. Right? I see Thanatos coming in. I want to poke out some more. Now, I'm not expecting a kill here. Okay? I have Thanatos as a 2v4. I'm just looking to poke. I'm looking to stall. I want to prevent them from taking anything. Okay? At this point in time, if Thanatos and I retreat, they get a tower. Whether it's the left or the mid tower, I don't know, and I don't care. Right now, if we can stall them without dying, we're in a good position. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm trying to very specifically sort of target the ROM, because if I can kill him, they stand much less of a chance of taking a tower. So he pays attention to me. I get the Ferocious Executioner proc. I get out of dodge. Here's Arachne. There's ROM again. Again, poke him, get him distracted, keep his attention, right? Fiddle around, try to make sure that I'm not taking too much damage, that I'm not in danger of dying. I've got Maui's attention. Very specifically, he whiffs his pull. Great. Now I'm going to cautiously re-enter. My team is back up, so I'm looking to, you know, get in there, use my ult, and maybe cause some damage, right? That is my goal right now. I'm trying to get in there to ult. Now, I noticed something. This is entirely by accident. I just happened to look at the mini-map at this point. Right, so I'm chasing Maui, and I slap him, and I can't do anything right now. I just happen to look back. I see Bellona behind Kukulkan, so I'm like, alright, let's single her out and kill her. And that's exactly what I intend on doing. Now, she ults, whiffs, and then re-enters, because clearly her team is nearby still, right? So, you know, I ult out. She gets absolutely gobsmacked by good old Kukulkan. We're trying to take out the Arachne. She dies. That's great. That was a really great fight for us. Now, I tell them I'm out of mana, and I think I'm backing, but I'm not. I pressed the button and then pressed something else by accident. But they're going to now push on for left lane because it has no Phoenix. I'm going to go refresh the ward on right because you can see it blinking. You know it's about to go down. Now, Scotty calls to attack at the Fire Giant, and I initiate on this. I initiate on this because I have only 20-ish seconds until my ult is up, okay? I'm not worried about my health. But I am worried about the enemy team potentially coming in and taking this. Yes, they still have to defend the left lane, but I haven't seen them in a hot minute. They've been off the map, from my perspective, for quite some time. So I'm kind of worried, so I'm really going hard on this, right? And we do take this, but at the cost of like half the team, because Thanatos and Kukulkan died for it. Now I want to go for, once again, the Pyromancer. They back off again because they're probably expecting the enemy team to come in here, right? I take a lot of damage from the Pyromancer. I don't have the baseline health and mana for this, so what I'm going to do is ult. Now, notice, because I forgot this, right? But you can actually see here, because I totally forgot this until after the fact, so I basically wasted my ult because my memory is like a sieve, apparently. I ult, you can see, notice that the Pyromancer is approximately half health here. Well, even though the fake Sun Wukong does technically count as a god, you can see the Pyromancer healing, alright? So I know, look, I'm not going to take this. I just wasted my opportunity, because I totally forgot that. Completely forgot about that. That's happened to me twice before, right? But I forgot. I wasted my ult. I'm leaving. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. If the enemy team takes the Pyromancer, at least we have the Fire Giant, so that's something, right? I'm going to grab my blue buff. And this speaks volumes as to how much you can sustain as a solo lane if you build properly, because I'm not even going to go back. I have my full build. I could get big potions of damage. I don't need to at this point, but right now I'm just trying to sustain back up. You'll notice I'm not really using any abilities. I'm going to use my Magic Cudgel here if I remember. No, I don't. I don't use my Magic Cudgel here. I forgot. But I'm just, you know, auto-attacking. I'm letting the Fire Giant buff and the mana buff restore my mana, and I'm healing up from the Fire Giant buff. It's a lovely time. Now, the reason why I don't go back for the potions is because I have 50 more seconds, well, a little more than 50 seconds on my Potion of Power, right? So I leave because at this particular point, I expect a fight. I really do. I see Bellona in left. There's probably other people in left lane coming up pretty soon. That's my anticipation. Here's Merlin, so I was partially wrong. They wound up being in mid lane. I'm going after that Merlin once again. And you know, I ult so I can chase him down a little bit more, which means the fact that he hasn't used his little teleport thing yet means he used it to engage. Thanatos absolutely picking up what I'm laying down. Now, this is also really funny, right? This is actually kind of hilarious if you think about it. I ult in to go get the Merlin. I damage Rom. I slow down Rom. I commit really hard here. Here's Thanatos killing him, and I turn around to go after the Rom. Rom has bailed. Rom has completely... Let's go back a little bit for that. Rom has completely bailed on Merlin. Zero attempt. Now, Rom obviously can't do anything to save him, but it's just kind of funny where I turn around, he is out of there. That is the fastest moving Rom I've ever seen. He's gone, right? I'm just going to turn around and go after Maui at this point. Rom, he doesn't even look back. Look at this man go. It's fantastic. It's hilarious. So we're going on Maui now. Bellona surprises the back line. I'm going to just commit to Maui because I'm trying to keep Rom out. Now, by committing to Maui and applying that pressure to Maui, he's going to have to back off. Right? He's clearly moving straight for the fountain. That's great, because when Rom lands, now I've got free access to Rom, right? I turn around because he's now, you know, Maui is now out of my hair, and now I'm just trying to line up for potentially killing Rom, but I see the Bellona. I'm making a move on this. I don't know how I missed that. But, you know, at this particular point, I'm like, alright, let me help out with the Phoenix here. We can take the Phoenix, we can press the Titan, we can win. Right? That's what I'm thinking. The enemy team, they're focusing on the fire minions, as they should. Here's Arachne, she's on the verge of death. Let me get in here and finish her off. Boom. Great. Let me see what else I can do, right? I'm going to go on to the Rom. My team backs off, and I recognize this too late, right? My team is right here. They've backed off a little bit. They've been sectioned out by Bellona. I'm looking, alright, I'm looking at this Titan. I'm like, okay, let's do some damage here. Boom. Okay, great. Let me clear these spiders, and then let me just try to not die here at this point. I'm trying to stall things out. I'm going to go onto the Rom again. I'm going to try to stop him. I have Ferocious Executioner. Now, I overshoot this really badly. You can actually see the moment where I'm doomed. Right, I clear the spiders. Alright, I've got my Pridwin Shield keeping me alive. Okay, Tiger Form right here. I'm doomed. Right, I do stun the Rom, but he's got Maui right here. There's no way I survive this. I die. Right, I had the Ferocious Executioner, but fortunately, Kukulkan slaps down Rom, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, the team backs off here because I'm not sure why. I ping the Phoenix because it would be a little bit easier if they just went to the left, cleared the Phoenix really quick, and then just walked in with 2 waves of fire minions. That would be a hands-down win. They're just instead going to stall out for that, which still works. It's just a little slower. Right? So, right now, Scotty's trying not to get killed by Bellona. Right? Bellona still kills her, and Kukulkan. Right now, we've got Thanatos, who is in some trouble now. Boom. He almost dies. Right? And I'm looking at their build right here. really quick, because I'm actually convinced at this point that Thanatos dies here. So I want to point out both a genius move by the Bologna and sort of doubling down on a mistake. It's really weird. So here's the gladiator shield I was talking about, right? And when she finishes that, that's when she loses her lane, by the way. And then chin size. Now, that makes some sense, given the lane, right? She builds it as a third item for some damage, for some auto attack damage. That's fine. But if you knew you were going to be building chin size, why the hell would you not build Berserker's Shield as your second item? The Gladiator's Shield makes no damn sense. I still don't know why she built this. There is no scenario. Yes, 10% cooldowns for the hammer swing. Lovely. But you're facing off against a warrior that can stop the hammer swing, thereby making attempts at hammer swinging a fairly moot point. This is simply a lack of... I don't know what this is, actually. I have a couple of theories. Maybe she... I don't even know, actually. I can't even espouse theories on this. Because the only thing I can think of is that either she didn't anticipate Sun Wukong. Maybe she's never played against Sun Wukong before, and this is just her standard default build. Possibly. I don't know. It's possible, and she just doesn't deviate from this build. Entirely possible. There are some people who play like that, and that's fine. You can't get away with it in solo lane most of the time, but other roles you can. Hunter, for instance. But that's a possibility. Or she just felt like her other abilities would somehow do more damage despite the fact that she had Death's Toll. I don't know what the thought process was here. But this Gladiator Shield, I mean, the rest of her build is fantastic. It really is. Alright, if Gladiator's Shield had been Berserker's Shield, she would have done better. She still would have lost lane. Okay? But it would have taken me longer. I would not have been as far ahead. Because she would have been healing more, because of the attack speed. She would have been proccing chin size more towards the end of the laning phase, because she had full chin size at the end. Okay? She would have had all of this. Now, I actually knew about this earlier because there was a point that I didn't pause to check the build. When I checked the builds earlier, I didn't pause for that. But she had chin size back then, and I could have talked about it then, but I wanted you to see the full build here because actually building the Amulet of the Stronghold here is actually a really great idea because this does convert a percentage of her physical protections into magic, which really helps her out. It's a really great choice by her. Very wise move, right? She actually uses it very effectively here. Besides the Glad Shield, it's actually a fantastic build. I just don't understand the Glad Shield. It does not make sense in the context that she was building it in. Beyond that, that was really what I was kind of checking at this point, because the last time I checked, she just finished chin size, so I didn't know what her 4th, 5th, or 6th items were. And, of course, we have Amulet of the Stronghold, Berserker's Shield, which she should have built second, and Contagion. I'm sorry, that's Spectral Armor. Right? But otherwise, fairly standard builds, right? Okay. But that's what I was checking here, is because I really wanted to, and I'm actually going to go out of my way. I actually do this in match because I'm thinking about this moment in the recording, where I want to very specifically show you. It'll come up pretty soon, where I'm going to. I was actually busy watching the Thanatos miraculously survive. Not. Right? I thought he was going to. But this is where I actually highlight this, and I highlight this so I can talk about this now. Look how much magic protections she's getting from Amulet of the Stronghold alone, right? Now, some of that is the 15% conversion of her physical protections, but the rest of that is just Heartward Amulet, right? Amulet of the Stronghold can be very, very useful. Now, in this particular case, I think it's a little extreme, right, in this particular aspect, because, quite honestly, we only really have Kukulkan, and unfortunately, the only downside to Amulet of the Stronghold is that it's basically just pure magic protections. Bulwark of Hope Yeah, that's magic protections too, and health, just like Heartward Amulet. But that passive helps against both physical and magic damage. And in fact, Bulwark of Hope, if you've been paying attention to its trigger throughout the match, has been sparing me from a lot of damage. So Bulwark of Hope, even though it also is a pure magic protection item, its passive gives me such a huge defensive boost against non-magic forms of damage that it's just incredibly diversely useful in a way that Amulet of the Stronghold is not. Still a great pickup here by the Bologna. She wants to just restrict her magic protections to one item. Amulet of the Stronghold is a great choice for that. Alright, I'm not criticizing this at all. It's just I wanted to compare Amulet of the Stronghold and the motivations for her to build that, and that's just pure. She wanted to focus completely on physical protections, barring one item, right? I go more into dual protections, right? I have Pridwin, and I have Sundering Axe, right? And of course, Sun Wukong's passive. She doesn't have that. She just has physical, 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 Amulet of the Stronghold. It's not a bad way to build at all. Again, the only real criticism of her build is that Glad Shield. It is so incongruous with the items before and after it. It boggles my mind. I still don't know what that thought process is there. And the thing is, against literally any warrior that can't interrupt Hammer Swing, that still would work really well. It's just this matchup, and any other matchup that can stop her from using that. Right? That's it. I just don't understand. It's very confusing. Now at this point, I'm just stalling out once again, right? I'm just waiting to see what the enemy does. The enemy's in mid lane. Okay. I'm waiting for Thanatos so we can make our final push. I want to go grab... What I'm specifically looking for here is the oracles, right? I checked those, but the enemy team is here. Now, that's a cool picture. Look, you can see my thought process once again change. I'm moving here to go for the oracles, right? Here I go, and then I see Bologna here. Okay, and then I see Merlin, and I almost go back. You can actually see me almost going back to the oracles because I don't know if I want to commit to this fight, right? Here's the oracles. Here's me kind of wandering over here because I want to make sure no one's coming over here. This is what I'm checking, right? I see these two here. I'm wondering, okay, these two are in mid lane. Is there someone kicking around here? Is there someone doing these harpies? Because if they're doing these harpies, they're going to hear me doing the oracles, and they're going to come interrupt. And I don't want that, right? So that's what I'm checking. And I check the oracle really quick, and then I decide, you know what? I see my team moving up a little bit here. Kukulkan is taking position to defend the tower. I'm going to initiate on this. I have my ult. I have potions. At the very least, I can survive, right? So I'm going to go in. And I'm going to go in on the Merlin once again. Again, got to take out that damage. Now, at this particular point, I know we win this team fight because Ram is way over here. Okay? We've got all of our team except Thanatos over here. That's fine. Thanatos moves faster than Ram does by leaps and bounds. And if I can kill Merlin, then the major source of magic damage on the enemy team will already be dead by the time Ram shows up. Right? Boom. Kukulkan kills him. Fantastic. I use my ult to heal. There's Maui. There's Bologna. I'm going to go and get Bologna killed. Great ult by Maui. I decide to switch to Arachne because I figure my team has the Bologna. They do. Now I want the Arachne. Right? Now, this is a great move by the Maui that actually saved the Arachne. Thanatos and I both whiff this, right? But I'm going to commit because I know that if I can take out her, then this is one in the bag. And I make another mistake here, right? I commit very hard to this. I'm trying to bop the Ram out of the way. He absolutely decimates me, which is as he should. I charged right into a Ferocious Executioner with the proc on. That was a huge mistake on my part. But despite my fears that Arachne would kill possibly one of our sources of damage, my team absolutely dominates the Titan, and my fears were for nothing. My death was for nothing, right? Which is fine. I did fairly well in this match, and it was a great match. It was a really wild match. Loved this fight. It was hugely funny. That mid-game team fight under their Phoenix was hilarious for all the wrong reasons. It was great. It was absolutely fantastic. Now, I've already covered the Bologna's build. I'm really not going to talk about that anymore. I do somewhat wonder about the Heartseeker for Arachne. Chin size is way better. Look. Okay. The thing about Arachne is her passive increases her auto attack damage. Well, okay, it increases her power very specifically by 1.5 for every 5% of the enemy's missing health. 1.5% increase of her power, which means a 1.5% increase to her basic attacks for every 5% of the enemy's missing health. Chin size deals minimum 4% of the enemy's max health per auto attack. Incidentally, yes, her stun, that increases her attack speed. Yeah, she can really do a lot. The Heartseeker was a mistake. It on Arachne, it cannot compare to the amount of damage she can put out with Chin size, especially since literally the entire rest of her build except her starter item is attack speed. Right? I don't know why she built Heartseeker. Yes, it offers you 10% penetration. Absolutely. But she already had the very useful Serrated Edge, which offers 20% penetration plus 10% from Hydra's Lament. Chin size, additionally, is, like I said, not only better damage, but it triggers her passive almost every auto attack. Literally every auto attack if she's attacking someone with high enough max health. It's just, I don't know why she built Heartseeker there. It is nowhere near as damaging for her as Chin size is, and that's a large part of why she wasn't hitting that hard. Now, normally Arachne is really good at taking out tanks, and you'll notice throughout that match, I really didn't have any problem fighting her, and for that matter, neither did Maui. Heartseeker is a big reason why. We weren't losing 4% of our max HP and basically giving her a 1.5% boost in her power every time, right? And that 1.5% of her, power is really a lot in the late game, right? Per 5% of the enemy's missing health, that can stack up if she's got enough power. And she had a lot of power here. So I don't really know what that was about. Now, the ROM's build was great. No criticisms there. Absolutely fantastic build. Okay? Amazing. The enemy Maui, great build as well. Now, the Maui... The only thing that I find very interesting with the Maui's build is that he went for Mail of Renewal instead of Gauntlet of Thebes. I think Gauntlet of Thebes probably would have done him a lot better. That would have been a really nice increase of, I think it's 35 of both protections. Alright. Again, my huge problem with Mail of Renewal is that that is a 1 minute cooldown on that heal. And since he already had War Flag, he really didn't need that much more healing. The HP 5 from Gauntlet of Thebes wouldn't quite have matched the Sentinel's Gift, right? But it's not a bad pick. It's just not optimal compared to Thebes. Or in the case of our team composition, another good pick would have been Sovereignty, right? Get those physical protections online, especially with the Scotty, right? The choice to go into Mail of Renewal, especially since at the time the enemy duo lane was ahead, that seems like a strange choice. The rest of his build is fairly standard, although I probably, if I were him, would have reversed the Talisman of Energy and the Breastplate of Valor. You see, our team composition is physical heavy. Thanatos, Scotty, Sun Wukong. 3 physicals. So, as his third item, having built a dual protection item as his second, his third item really should have been physical protections. I'm fine with these items. The items are great, but the order is weird. Okay? That's basically... And the Maui himself did really well. He probably would have broken even. He probably wouldn't have died as much if he had gone into Gauntlet of Thebes. If he had built Breastplate of Valor as his third item. Right? Just something I noticed. Now, the Merlin's build is fine. I mean, the Vampiric shroud. I can't remember which one this. Well, I can't remember the name of this specific one, but this is the one that drains your health and increases your damage. The Merlin's build is fine, but the Merlin was way too aggressive. The Merlin consistently used his escape to enter fights, and that got him killed. That's literally his only real issue. Gameplay wise, build wise, everything. The fact that he kept teleporting into the fights. There were 2 times I saw it in game, and there were a couple of other times I saw it watching it back after the fact. Right? He kept doing it, and it kept getting him killed. And that's the only reason he died in those situations, is because he kept teleporting in the middle of the fights into us. I think the best example is that really wacky fight that he literally led and died for. Yeah. Now the Maui's build, our Maui's build, is also a fairly wild time, but he did fairly well. You'll actually notice he contributed a lot here. 23 assists compared to the 13 of the enemy Maui, although to be fair, for the enemy Maui, that is literally half their kills, whereas our Maui, that's a little over half. So he did a little bit better here. He had a little bit more gold, but he totally skipped over starter item, went right into Breastplate of Valor, which is a fairly bold move, and then basically built in the order that I think the enemy Maui should have built, right? Essentially. Absolutely wild times. The rest of, Thanatos, Kukulkan, and Scotty's builds were all fairly normal, fairly good. Nothing really big there. Bold move by the Kukulkan to build the earrings there that increase your maximum cooldown, though. That's quite a bold move. I'm impressed. That takes guts. But it worked out for him. He played it well. The decision of Thanatos to build, by the way, a 3rd item, Transcendence, was a risk, but by that point he probably recognized that he was a decent bit ahead and could get away with it, and he was absolutely correct. Thanatos is only able to get away with that Transcendence there because Arachne stood in the solo lane at level 2 for a good minute and a half, right? She was hanging around. I think she actually, in total, between the 2 ganks she tried early game, I think she spent like 3-ish minutes there, which is a long time. I would have to probably go back and double check that, but it was at least 2 minutes that she spent over there. I think 3 though, or closer to 3. And because of that, Thanatos recognized, hey, I'm a decent bit ahead here. Let me really quickly grab Transcendence for some extra damage. Right, that was purely an opportunistic buy, and it was a great decision by the Thanatos. Okay, but yeah, it was a fascinating game. I'm glad I recorded this. Absolutely fantastic, absolutely great. Loved this match, but yeah, with that being said, thank you all very much for joining me. If you liked this, please like and subscribe. If you didn't, please ignore me. And if you have any comments, questions, concerns, ideas, suggestions, or requests, please leave them down in the comment section below. And thank you all very much for joining me, and have a great 24 hours.